Brilliant from Kennedy. Couldn't resist the shot, and it's gone in off the defender!
Determined, you lose your little player. And it's in, it's a goal from Gilmour. Jimmy Gilmour has scored for Falkirk.
Finnegan's cross, Stephen Thompson! Falkirk have the lead after a quarter of an hour.
McKenzie slips, it goes straight to McGuffey. McGuffey shoots from his own half, and that is incredible!
He's taking them all on here. Catch him if you can. You can't. That is amazing. That is phenomenal. A touch of individual inspiration from Kevin McAllister.
This is Falkirk Daft.
Hello and welcome to Falkirk Daft. And was that not just the best weekend to have without actually playing? It's a bit of a strange one. We're here midweek rather than our normal Monday night because we've got two huge games coming up and we need to talk about them. I am your host, John McAnally, and as ever joined by the one-man band in the main stand, Mr. Ross Battali, the Ginger God of Pod, Ross Wayne, everyone.
Happy Wednesday, sir. Happy Wednesday.
I know what you do with your weekend off. Did you go round the shops?
Yeah, it was a family weekend, quite a quiet one. It was my mum's birthday, so we were out for some lunch there as well, which was
Go anywhere
nice.
nice, Ross? Go anywhere nice?
We did. We went to Scott's at South Queensferry. Really nice.
Ooh, fancy. There you go.
Really nice.
Not as fancy as me though, sir. I was in Gleneagles, baby.
Of course you were, yes.
I was in Gleneagles. My cousin has a bit of cash and has a wee cheeky timeshare up there, so we were up there with the kids. Honestly, I've never felt so inadequate as a man in all my life. Driving into the Gleneagles car park in my Kia CGT, it was like a Range Rover showroom up there, and you're just standing there. The worst part about it, Ross, is we're starting. My cousin has a bit of timeshare. There's lodges up at the back of Gleneagles. When I say lodges, I mean houses, and apparently it's the most exclusive postcode in Scotland. Anyhow, my cousin said, so I met her down at the golf club, had a couple of drinks in the pub there. Not cheap, I will like to add to that. Not cheap at all. Thinking of Scotia and Welly prices, treble it, right? So yeah, that's fine. Went for a drink there, lovely time with the family, and then we went up to her house. You know, we're getting a couple of drinks in, having a bit of party, what have you. And she goes, "Oh, come on, we're going for a drink in the main hotel." And I thought, I'm not passing this up. Beautiful. The only thing is, however, Ross, I was on, I had my stuff, so I had a bit of a carry out on the go, clink, clink, clink of bottles as you used to get. And she goes, going for a drink here. I went, oh shit, I'm going to have to take this bag for life with clinking bottles of beer and gin into Gleneagles Centenary Bar. Jesus Christ, I've never felt so awful. I'm just like, it's all right, come on.
Was it like Rabsy walking in with his carry-out, was it?
It was ridiculous. It was very nice though, very nice. We had a couple of nights not to rather, but missing the football, obviously, missing about the football.
However, it was, as you said at the beginning, it was a very good weekend for football and football. So
I mean, I could not believe when you saw Annan go 1-0 up, you think, it'll be a matter of time before Hamilton come back. Then it went 2-0 up, you think, whoa, there's a wee chance here. And then obviously Hamilton get one back. You get two back, and you're thinking, if there's anyone going to get a goal in this game, and you're just waiting for the notification to come up on your phone saying, Hamilton have went to score a third one, and that's what I expected. And then when the goal flash came in, I was like, what? That was the reaction of me and a lot of Falkirk supporters around it. It was very unexpected, and obviously we'll get into the kind of previewing the Hamilton game. The Hamilton supporters are not a happy bunch off the back of that result as well. So
not at all, really.
We'll talk about that a bit later on. Like I say, a slightly different show. We don't have the match to review, but we've got obviously two massive games against Hamilton and Montrose to preview. We'll get into them in a bit, but we still have club news for you since the last time we spoke. As expected, the last time we were on here was after the TNS game. There's obviously the trouble afterwards. The club released a statement and basically saying they've had to apologise to the New Saints and supporters. As they say, the type of occurrence as previously unknown at our stadium will not be tolerated. As such, we're working with the police, our security partners, and supporters groups of other clubs to identify and hold account those who planned and perpetrated these events. Anyone identified will be made known to police and will receive the most severe sanctions from the club. You have been warned. We did say, I mean, come on, boys. I don't know if it, like we have heard reports there was St Mirren supporters involved, there was Sheffield United supporters involved, but it's just going to mean, as we say, more policing, and I believe there's going to be increased policing at Saturday's game as well, Ross.
Yeah, that's what we had heard in the grapevine as well. And then the SPFL give the final to the Falkirk Stadium. So TNS versus Airdrie will take place. Was it 24th of March or something like that?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll all be fine. But yeah, I mean, come on, boy. We've got anyone listening to this podcast and involved in that sort of thing. Come on, have a word with yourself. Just go and enjoy the result. Have a good night afterwards. But there's no need for throwing wheelie bins, for God's sake. I can't believe that sentence just left my mouth. There's no need for throwing a wheelie bin. So, the club are obviously against it. They'll be speaking to the ultras as well. As we've said in the last, they're quite self-policing, the ultras. So hopefully those boys are on it. And I'll make sure that it doesn't happen again. So there you go. Since we've spoke last as well, McGlynn, manager of the month, and Calvin Miller, player of the month. Well deserved, Ross. Very
well deserved. Is that second month on the spin for John McGlynn?
It's obviously just looking at the league performances rather than the cup runs, because obviously
no brainer.
Brilliantly in the cup, but in the league, I don't think there's anyone else contending, is there?
No, not at all. Not in their current form. I think he's now had three or four for the season so far, these monthly awards. So really well deserved. Calvin definitely standout player of the month across the divisions as well, not just for his goals, but the amount of goals that he's set up as well. So both of them absolutely chuffed, and long may it continue, because if it does continue, it means the team is doing well. So we just want that to continue till May, don't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, off the back of that, we got the news on Saturday that the John McGlynn and Paul Smith have signed a new 2-year contract extension will keep them at the club until 2026. Happy with that?
Yeah, no, I know there was some chatter online about how maybe we should have held off until promotion was achieved, but listen, we're expecting players to sign up and commit themselves to the football club, and a lot of these players would want
play for McGlynn,
and signed up as well. So for me personally, it's a no-brainer.
I thought it was a strange time to announce it. I mean, obviously the result kind of played off, but I maybe would have waited and done the deal after the Hamilton and Montrose games. But as you say, you're looking to get these players on an extended deal, whether that's impetus then to get another couple of players signed up. We already know Hendo signed the deal, we already know Cole signed the deal, we Nesbitt signed the deal, and so whether that's impetus then to go on and get, I don't know if it's Brad Spencer. He got another year to run his deal. I believe Tam Lang has got another year to run his deal.
Well, as far as we're aware, Tam Lang, Brad Spencer and Calvin Miller have all got another year left to go. I don't know whether there's any sort of clauses in there about if we weren't to achieve promotion, but listen, I think we need to look positively, especially with the run that we're on in the league. And but going back to your point, maybe the timing last Saturday was because they're hoping to entice even more players to sign on further. So listen, we just need to trust him. He's been amazing. They've been amazing in the market. Granted, every result hasn't, especially more so last year, it didn't finish the way everybody wanted to go, but the way this season's shaping up, and granted there's nothing, we've not won anything yet either, but the way it's currently going, it would be a brave man to sort of bet against us. So really good news though, really good news.
So well done, good to have John McGlynn. Like you say, it's, we've been so through that inconsistent period where we had a manager in every other month, it seemed. And this is the first time, in a long time, we've had that consistent team, that consistent management duo in there. And we've all said it, and we've said it all along on this podcast. We see a style of play. We see, certain tactics laid out. Sometimes that goes against us with Mr. McGlynn, as we saw last season as well. But there's a shape, there's a style, and we hadn't really previously seen that with other managers. So yeah, again, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Let's do 5,000. The KM7 stand is sold out for the game against Hamilton. Can we get to 5,000? Ross Wayne, what do you think?
I think we'll do it. The last tweet yesterday was that they were already over 4,500 yesterday. I think we will. I think by kickoff there'll be 5,000 Falkirk fans in the grounds. And Aki's, granted, they're not on a good run of form, but I'd be shocked if they didn't match what they brought last time, which was about 3,350. So I think we'll go out of about 5,354.
I've heard bringing 6 buses, but I've also seen in a couple of Aki's places that they're only bringing. They think it'll be only about 250 or thereabouts. Hopefully, I mean they bring more than that, because it just adds to the
atmosphere and the occasion, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You do get it because obviously the result last Saturday probably knocked the stuffing out of a number of their fans. Hence why we don't have any Aki's fans coming on tonight. Unfortunately, it would have been nice if they had been able to come on, but they've not been. So, and I get it, they'll be a bit down in the dumps, but it is a massive game. 7,000 are going to be at Wraith, Dundee United.
Yeah,
on
I saw that.
Friday night. But you've got to bear in mind, and I know Wraith have been bumming this crowd up, but Dundee United have sold nearly 4,000 of those tickets. So, and I'm not saying Wraith should be selling more, but I just think our sort of gate and game on Saturday seems to be kind of flying under the radar. But it's a huge game on Saturday, massive game.
Definitely one of the biggest games in Scotland on Saturday. Falkirk women, they beat Dundee West 3-0. Vicky Wood, Susan Wyatt, just the goal machine, scored as well. And Robin O'Neill came off the bench to end the scoring 3-0. So well done, the women. Loving your work. And lots going on this week as well. The under-16s are in action at the stadium on Friday night. It's 7:30 kickoff there. If you fancy toddling along to that, head the Hamilton game. And then on Sunday, the under-18s, if you're hungover, hopefully from celebrating, you can go and check that out at the stadium. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff. And then the women are taking on Airdrie. That's away at the Airdrie Leisure Centre, and that's on Sunday as well at 1:45 kickoff for that one. So get involved with any of those games as well. If you're
Airdrie Leisure Centre, is that the new name for Brimfield, is it?
I don't know. Airdrie Leisure Centre, that must just be in the outskirts of
I know.
Yeah, you're fine. Right. But listen, we've got the Falkirk Supporters Society draw coming up. But first, Ross, before we get into that, Denon Lewis has been back in touch with us. So it's great to hear from Denon. Again, thank you, Denon. He emailed from us and says, "Hi guys, I've just watched Aki's versus Annan highlights and it's given me no joy whatsoever. To watch a team with such an amazing history and fan base as Annan Athletic being booed off the park after a 3-2 thrower makes my blood boil. What is wrong with these Aki's fans?" I don't know if Denon's realised it was that. I don't know. Anyway, don't they appreciate the beautiful game, what they have just witnessed? The Hamilton answer to your 1876 Ultras, the 24 halfwits are an utter disgrace. Shame on them. I believe that only 23 of the halfwits are likely to travel to Falkirk for next week's game, as one has now got a girlfriend and she wants to go shopping together that day. Who would want to play in front of that lot, eh? I think I might have got out of jail with my big money Hamilton move falling through at the last minute. This was apparently due to Zerif Sengen's failings. Why oh why did they have to fall out? Why oh why did he have to fall asleep a drunk on the kitchen floor on each of the last 3 days of the window? We don't know if that's true. Obviously, I now hate Aki's even more than Falkirk, and I am hoping that Annan can find some big money and come in for me in the summer. To keep you updated, I finally ended my subs bench hell and got a start for Woking on Saturday, only for yet another new manager, Dopey Doyle, to sub me after 58 minutes. Bloody hell! I thought that when Fatty Sarles finally got the sack, that my fortunes had changed. No such luck. Poor Denon. I am surrounded by clueless and inadequate failures. Keep well, guys. Up your hell rat. Love Denon.
Denon.
You'll get a club one of these days. Honestly, Denon, you'll find your club one of these days, but just unfortunately it's not going to be Hamilton, mate. It might be. Who knows? Hold out in that dream. Right, okay. We've not done it in ages, it feels like, but we've got the draw for the Falkirk Supporter Society now. If you sign up to the Falkirk Supporter Society, do it right now. You can do that. All the details at the Falkirk Supporter Society page. And obviously you can become part of the club, part owner of the club. We're over 25% ownership in the club now, which means now bad things can happen while we're got the charge of the wheel, which is great. So yes, get signed up if you're not a member. We now have a staggering amount of numbers. How many have we got now, Ross?
According to the latest information we got from the FSS, it's 878 members.
Oh, right. We're talking to push to 500, 5,000 at the stadium. Come on, we can push to 1,000 members for the FSS, surely. So yeah, that's great news. 878 in terms of FSS numbers. And they are saying that if you do pay via PayPal, try and switch that over to a standing order, or it's through the ticketing system as well now. I think you can do it as well, because obviously they'll take less money and what have you doing it that way. So yeah, get signed up. All the details at the Falkirk Supporters Society. You'll get all the details of how to sign up, who to speak to, and how to get involved with it there. Right, okay, we've got 878 members. We've got 3 prizes. And what are the 3 prizes, Ross Wayne?
We have a prize that's been donated by an FSS member and Falkirk Daft listener as well. His name's John Harding. Lucky enough to, but in fact, both of us have bumped into John.
Yeah, I met John in behind the wall during the pub trail, and I believe your celebrity knows no end, Ross, and you bumped into him at the 10-pin bowling on Saturday.
Yeah, so that was going to be my post-match Aaron story, because we had just started, and I'd spoke to John and his mates just before we started bowling, and we'd been playing for like 10-15 minutes, and then all I heard was this massive cheer from about 5 tables away, and it was John and his mates showing me that Annan had just took the winner. So absolutely brilliant. But yeah, John's donated an FFC bar stool, which is made by Fanatical. So a lot of people have seen these bar stools over the years. This one is virtually brand new. I think John had actually won it as part. Remember when the club were doing their competitions during COVID?
Yeah.
John was one of the lucky winners there. So it's virtually brand new, our Falkirk Football Club bar stool. So he's donated that. Now that one will be collection. And Falkirk, there's obviously nothing they can do from a postage perspective. Second prize is behind the wall vouchers, courtesy of massive Bairns fan, Mr. Brian Flynn. And last but not least, first prize is the boardroom experience for 2, courtesy of the board at Falkirk Football Club.
Okay, so we'll do it like we normally do it. I will share my screen here. If you're listening to the audio version, that will make no sense to you at all. But yeah, and we'll hit the random number generator, and that shall generate us some numbers. Right, okay, Ross, here we go. We've got the random number generator up here on the screen. And we've got 878 pushed into it. So we're going for the third prize, which is the bar stool, yes?
Indeed.
Let's hit that generator, and we've got 845. Who is number 845?
We have Paul Robertson. I wonder if that's the Paul Robertson who's been on this as a guest pundit a couple of times.
It very well might be. There you go. A nice new bar stool could be heading its way. I think Paul's in Edinburgh if it is that Paul Robertson. Right, okay, so 845 is winning the bar stool. Let's go for the next number, which is 445, and this is for the behind the wall vouchers, courtesy of Brian and the team there.
445 is a Derek Forrester. Well done, Derek.
Well done, Del Boy. A lovely little meal. Just a shame it's just Valentine's Day today, or you could have, slipped that in as a Valentine's Day present. Take you for a slap-up meal behind the wall.
Slipped what in?
What's that?
Slipped what in? That's my crude mind. I'm sorry, mate. I'll take that away.
Terrible. Right, okay. And final prize is the boardroom experience, courtesy of the club. And we have number 758.
758 is Scott McElroy, and that's a name I recognise as well. I think he may be a Falkirk Daft listener as well. And
fantastic, great news. Well done, Scott. You're going to the boardroom. Ross will probably be there as well, so he will give you the speech and all the guided tour, just because he knows it off by heart now. In fact, he's after Stevie Jackson's job at the end of the season, so watch your back, Stevie. So there you go. That is the prizes. If you want to be in the draw for next month, get signed up to the Falkirk Supporters Society. It's as easy as that.
This is Falkirk Daft.
So 2 massive games ahead for Falkirk, and we're going to work our way backwards. So let's start off with next Tuesday evening. It's at the Falkirk Stadium. It's against Montrose. It's our game in hand. The chance, well, potentially, hopefully, to go 14 points clear at the top of the league. That would be unbelievable. We don't know where we'll be at that this time next Tuesday. But let's speak to Mark Rae. From what are you from, Mark? Is it Lather? What do you do for Montrose? I know you're sitting there with your Montrose badge, your training top on that you got off DH Gate. What's your actual title when it comes to Montrose?
I don't have a title. I just let about doing loads of things, match reports and bits and bobs.
Can we call you Montrose's media officer? Because I feel that's what you're gearing
No,
towards.
I'm definitely not Montrose's media officer.
No, all right, that's all right. I'm like, okay. So he does stuff around the club. He watches them every week, and he's been on Falkirk Daft a couple of times. You know, anytime we hear from Mark, it's almost like Montrose or the Brazil of Angus. How have they been doing this season, Mark? Because it's like looking at the, you know, where he's are in the league just now. He's sitting 5th. It is so tight in amongst that pack there. But, you know, from Stirling Albion up to Alloa, I mean, anyone still has a chance of getting into those playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment it's probably 2 from 4. I think Acuna South still have a chance. It's only 6 points, but
6 points.
Everybody else has got a game in hand over them. And Stirling are, what, 8 points behind? So, I mean, realistically at the moment, I think we're talking 2 from Alloa, Cove and Montrose at the moment, because Hamilton are shoed in for the playoffs at least.
Yeah.
I say at least.
Good to say at least. Very good. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be form. Like looking at your run of games there, Mark. You know, it's been like you won the last 2 against Stirling Albion and Edinburgh, and then you've had like draw, loss, draw, and you seem to have been a bit up and down. Are you just finding form now? What are you putting it down to?
A lot of injuries. Kerr Waddle is out again. He did his cruciate just after New Year. So, I mean, he's barely had a run of 5 games over the last 2 years. It feels like he's forever in and out of the team. Terry Masson, long-term injury. A lot of young guys coming in, a lot of old guys who are having to carry a lot of weight in that team still.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only lost twice since Christmas, since the turn of the year at least. Morton in the Cup, we probably expected to lose anyway, and still now being at home. But apart from that, it's, as you say, it's draws, decent couple of wins. I mean, we beat Edinburgh City 3-0 just at the weekend there. That was over by half time. It's not every team that has to go 96-minute penalty to scrape a draw. So yeah, we're not doing too bad.
Aye, Kane Hester's been your kind of, you know, record signing for Montrose and seems to have been doing a bit of business. Were you expecting more goals back from him though?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you think if you're playing him as a sole striker, you're probably expecting a few more goals than he's got. We've got goals throughout the team though. I mean, Webby still gets a lot of goals from the right wing. Paul Watson, at the age of, how old he is, he's definitely late 30s anyway, scored twice at the weekend there, Captain Marvel. A few young boys are chipping in with goals. Michael Gardine still gets a couple here and there. But yeah, I think we probably would have expected more from Hester, given how much we spent on him, and he is playing as a lone striker now. But he's quite creative. I mean, when he's not putting them in the net himself, he is setting them up for other folks. So.
Mark, we're having a wee look at the scorers list. No goals this season for Ryan Williamson as yet. Is he having any driving runs into the box like we saw whenever he managed to play?
Is this you trying to lure me into saying that Ryan Williamson's brilliant or something? I know you love him. He's a strange one. When there's talk of signing him, John did say he's either Cafu or he's Dung, and there's no in between. And there's a bit of that. I mean, he's probably better going forwards than he's at the back. But I mean, he gets forward, but we've got players in front of him, like Graham Webster usually plays right wing, so probably better seeing him sticking back in occasional overlaps rather than bombing backwards and forwards.
And has he kept injury free, which is the most amazing thing?
Yeah, I don't think he's been too bad.
Bloody hell.
We've played most of the matches. I don't know if you've looked at the stats. You've probably got a better idea than me, but I think
Jesus Christ almighty. Honestly, he was best pals with our physio. They've had to sign like a big leaving card, you know, for the physio. I mean, how have you felt? I mean, obviously Montrose, is it the last couple of seasons, Mark, you made the playoffs and stuff like that. Has it been just a kind of this season? Has it been a transition season for Montrose, or is it just?
No, I think that was probably last season.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on 33 points. Cove are on 34, Auld are on 35. So it's not like we're miles off the pace. I mean,
Yeah.
if you discount Falkirk and Hamilton, there's nothing between the rest of us, between, as you say, third and almost eighth. So no, I don't think we're struggling, to be honest.
So do you think it's going to be, you said it's kind of, who's the biggest threat to those playoff places? Alloa, is it Cove, is it Kelty?
I'm surprised by how good Auld have been, how well they've sustained that challenge.
I'm very surprised, yeah.
Tail off as injuries and stuff hitting. Queen of the South, I think, have the other way around. Probably expected them to be better and have not been good for a lot of it. Kelty, I think they blow hot and cold. Sometimes they're unplayable and sometimes they didn't turn up. But Cove we tend to do all right against. So I mean, it's going to be an interesting run. What's there? 13 games left. I wouldn't count us out anyway.
Mark, Cove seem to be on a bit of a downward spiral now as well, haven't they? Like I know, like we'll say it was coincided with us beating them, but they've not since that game early January. Their form's sort of fallen off a cliff. On current form, you probably are going to overtake them in fourth place at least.
Yeah, I think only Edinburgh City are probably in worse form at the moment, and that's the remnants of Edinburgh City. So yeah, I mean, you think if current form continues the way it is, we should overtake them, all being well. I think Alloa, if they can sustain what they're doing, they're looking good for third. But yeah, still a lot to go, obviously.
So you come to the Falkirk Stadium on Tuesday night, Mark. What do you think we'll get from Montrose? It was obviously, we've had a draw this season up at your place, 0-0, and then we had the win, which is the Cal Morrison screamer that we had earlier on in the season. What are you expecting from Tuesday's game for Montrose?
I think it'll be another close one. I think you were really lucky to get all 3 points at Grangemouth the last time.
Yeah.
John, where's the mute button?
I mean, yeah, I think Montrose are pretty hard done by not to get at least a point from that match down there at the start of the season. The 0-0, not much in that. Was that the first time you dropped points? The 0-0, I can't mind.
I think was it? No, Cove. Sorry, we played Cove at the first game of the season. We dropped points. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. First game after that then. But so yeah, I mean, you never really have it that easy against us.
No.
So I would expect the same. A lot of experienced boys that will dig in, make it difficult for you, quick at closing you down, quick at hitting on the break. Decent amount of pace. I mean, Hester, Webster, a couple of the young boys, Williamson. If they get space to run, they'll keep you penned back if they can. So yeah, I think it'll be tough.
I mean, like obviously the midweek game as well, Mark. It kind of goes against a lot of your boys part time. Are a lot of them based in the Central Belt though?
A lot of Fifers.
Is there a lot of Fifers? Aye.
So yeah, they'll be up for it though. I mean, it's league leaders under the floodlights. There's nobody who's going to be wanting for attitude, that's for sure.
Mark, I would agree with you. I think the first game was really tight, and obviously it took an absolute belter of a strike for us to get the win. The midweek game at Montrose, I was there that night. I think we were, if anyone was going to score, it felt like, as in like put a few goals past that. I genuinely thought it was going to be us that night. I think the wind was obviously played a huge part that night as well, but that was the first time we've played Montrose in a few years where I didn't think he's were the best team all season. And I know I've said this to you before, and I'm not blowing smoke up your backside, but like we've had an awful lot of hard games against Montrose, and that night, and I know it was still a draw, but that night was the first night I thought that wasn't that. It didn't feel like a close game.
No, maybe not, but yeah, we got a point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tough conditions, and we weren't in a great run of form at that time, so that probably set us back on a decent wee run, having had kind of patchy form up until then. So yeah, it just depends how we turn up on the night. And he's been changing the team around a bit as well. So some guys will come in, some guys will come out, because we can't be relying on 48-year-old, 30-year-old, 36-year-old legs twice a week. So it'll be interesting to see what team he puts out on Tuesday night.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Mark, I'm going to ask you then, obviously you're always on at me about Falkirk. But in all honesty, out of Falkirk and Hamilton, having seen both those teams, having played both of us. Who do you think is going to win the game on Saturday?
Is it in Falkirk?
Yeah.
I think Hamilton are done now. I wouldn't be surprised if it was another 0-0, 1-1 draw, which will do them absolutely no favours at all.
Yeah, they need to come and win at our place on Saturday. They definitely do.
Yeah, it's a game that as long as Falkirk don't lose it, you've essentially won. So unless you do something really, really daft, then
yeah. So you think Falkirk? We didn't bet this season, did we, Mark? Did we bet? I'll have to go back to the
I think we did actually. I think my bet was that you wouldn't win the league.
All right, fantastic, great. We'll go back and we'll see what you owe me this season. Hopefully, if we win the league. But for Tuesday, what are you predicting?
Let's go for it. 1-0 Montrose.
Go 1-0 Montrose, right? Roscoe.
The streak ends. Be like the Undertaker. Oh no!
I was bright. No, yeah, you're Brock. You'd have to be Brock Lesnar then, Mark. Come on.
No,
we're the Undertaker. We're the Undertaker. You have to be Brock Lesnar. Play the game.
Yeah. Let's cut that from the record then, Moa.
Right, Ross. What are you thinking?
I think we'll win on Saturday, and I think the impetus to try and go 14 clear will be massive. So I'm going to say 3-0 Falkirk next Tuesday night.
Do you know what I think? I don't know. I'll get my Hamilton prediction. I think if we win on Saturday, we might draw on Tuesday. I think if we draw on Saturday, we'll win on Tuesday. That's where my head's at with it all. I'm like, if we get 4 points for these two games, it's massive. It's huge, absolutely huge. But we will wait and see. But Mark, thank you so much as ever for coming on.
It was a pleasure.
On the podcast, really appreciate your time. And let's move on to Hamilton. And it is, we said the last time, it's the biggest game of the season. I mean, this is huge, Ross. Saturday. As we said at the start of the show, we reached out to the boys at Only Ackies. Now, I'm going to hold my finger out at you Falkirk supporters who have been terrible to them, right? Because Ben and Brandon, who do the Only Ackies podcast, lovely guys that they are, they didn't want to come on this week just because, and you'll maybe have seen, if you're on Pat and Bravo, you'll have seen Ben's response. We asked them to come on a couple of times, but I think there's been a bit of a pile on them because they basically said that they had the best team in the league, and then they retweeted something from our Falkirk Daft account with their faces on it. And you lot have been piling on, so that's why we don't have them on this show, because you lot have really chased them off. So we tried to get a couple of Ackies. Actually, we were speaking to, you'll maybe have seen Alan, who was on who's been doing a bit of winding up on the Falkirk supporters as well on Twitter. We asked him, but he couldn't make it on. And then we had someone line up, and then that fell away. So it's just us two talking about the Hamilton game, which is a shame because I really want to get an insight into where Hamilton's head at the moment, because it does feel a bit like where we were last season.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that, John. I think they're obviously chasing us. We were chasing that lot from across the Forth this time last year, weren't we? So it's such a massive game. I hate to steal his catchphrase, but like Stevie Beveridge always, I'm buzzing like an old fridge waiting for Saturday. I really, really am. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton, obviously we talked about it as well, getting beat off Annan, a result we just did not expect. I mean, if they came to the stadium with 5 points and then with the chance of making it 2, it would have been huge for them, absolutely massive for them. But that result, when we can now potentially go 11 on Saturday, and as we spoke to Mark, then 14. And at that point, you're thinking, we couldn't, surely, even Falkirk couldn't blow a 14-point lead, especially the way we've played that this season.
No, listen, we've said this numerous times. We're a different animal this year. I don't think this team, this management team, this fan base are going to accept anything less than first place this year. I think everybody's in it. Everybody's with it. Look at the crowd that's going to come on Saturday. You can just tell there's a feeling building before the game as well. And it's only Wednesday. That this is going to be a huge, huge day. Now, granted, the club have got previous for blowing a big crowd. We've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, haven't we? Yeah. But it just feels different. this year, John. It really, really does. And just like the game in December, Falkirk fans were up for it. We filled that away end. What a noise that day. And I think it'll be the same on Saturday as well.
Yeah, Hamilton Accies supporters out against were shouting, booing at the end of the game. I read a report of the guy who does the sports analysis having to be escorted, to understand they're not happy. The owner, Zerif Sengen, came out, he backed John Rankin and basically called for the supporters to stick together ahead of the game. If they want a chance of catching us. You feel, though, if Falkirk come out and get an early goal on Saturday, the support of Hamilton supporters just aren't going to stick to it. You just don't. I think after last Saturday's result, I think they'll find it really hard to get behind the team, and I think it'll be a lot of them just turning John Rankin if we were to get an early goal. I think that's a really important thing for Saturday, Ross.
No, I think so as well. I genuinely, I know I can't stop smiling. I'm absolutely buzzing for it already, and I just think the fans will be in early doors. You're right. The Accies fans will be tense as hell. And if they do lose to an early goal, or they've just not scored, the longer the game goes on and they don't score, because they have to win on Saturday. Yeah. They have to come to our place on Saturday and open up. And the difficult for them, in my opinion, is that when teams try and come to our place and be open and expansive football, we've taken them to task. And I think that's what John will be labouring to the players this week is, listen, let's get the crowd. It's going to be a big crowd. Let's get the crowd on side really early doors and let's just go for it here.
Yeah, it is absolutely massive game. I mean, what we've got to be wary of, though, is, and I'm sure John's doing his homework, is that Hamilton are actually the fourth highest scorers in the SPFL. Behind us, Celtic and Rangers, we're actually now falling to second highest scorers, but we've got a couple of games on hand against Celtic, so there you go. But it's, they have got the firepower. I mean, Kevin O'Hara scored 13 goals for them this season. It's not a return I'd ever thought I'd see from Kevin O'Hara. Again, he gets it tight from Falkirk Sports. He'll be looking to, Ewan Henderson. They've got the boy who doesn't really seem to be getting a game for them. Matt Kirk from Hearts, who they brought on loan. I mean, the goalie being injured, and Scott, his name's just
Scott Martin.
Scott Martin being injured have obviously been big minuses for Hamilton. They seem to have, reading in between the lines, Jamie Barjonas kind of blows hot and cold for them. I always thought he was a really good player for them. So they're slightly weakened from when we played them previously. I would say they're not as,
No, I would agree. I don't think they made smart moves in January either, if I'm being honest. Dylan Tate, who's left them.
Imagine if Dylan Tate was to score the winner. Oh my God, it'd be like Adebayor against.
It really would. And I would absolutely love it. Like, I'd be there for that. Like, can you imagine him? Even if he scored into the Kevin McAllister end, I could see him, just as you're saying, Adebayor in it, all the way up, probably past the dugout and giving it, and then just sliding on his knees, giving it.
I mean, it would be absolute scenes. It would be absolute scenes if Dylan Tate scored. But I was very surprised that they let Dylan Tate. I mean, we haven't seen much of him in the Falkirk jersey apart from a cameo against Hull when he looked absolutely amazing when he came on. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of team do you think. Do you think he'll tinker at all? Do you think he'll just go with what we went with at TNS, or do you think he'll tinker a wee bit with it? I mean, there doesn't appear to be any injuries.
No. Do you know, I don't think there'll be too many changes. No, I don't. There is obviously chatter about Dylan Tate. I personally think he'll still be on the bench. I think he'll get on, but I think he'll be on the bench. I don't know. My personal opinion is I don't think there'll be any change. I think the keeper will retain his place as well. I think Hogarth.
I thought Hogarth showed up well against TNS. We said that the last time. Yeah. The only player you changed Dylan Tate for surely is Aidan Nesbitt, because the Henderson you need for his physicality, and he's been outstanding. And Spencer, as we all know, is an absolute baller. And I just, Aidan Nesbitt, we all know how much McGlynn loves Aidan and his work rate. And he's shown up really well this season, Aiden, as well. So Dylan is the only, that's the only change you maybe see. Cal Morrison, Calvin Miller, it's Ross or Acumen, isn't it? And you can't see either of those coming in, can you?
No, I can't. I think Miller and Morrison will be there, and McKeever will lead the line. Although I have been impressed with Ryan Shanley, I really have. I thought he took his game against Auld very, very well. He didn't get long, or he didn't really do too much when he came on against TNS, but none of the subs really made any impact, unfortunately, that night. But I just think the full team are going to be absolutely buzzing. They're going to come out, even for the warm up, John. They'll come out at 10 past, 2:15. The Kevin McAllister will be half full, even by 2:30. The ultras will be in. The main stand's looking exceptionally busy as well. And I just think the players are going to get such a good kick, a good buzz out of it. I really
hope so. I really hope so. I guess you've got to play the occasional, and hopefully the occasion doesn't play them and get into their head. Because as you say, we have seen this story a few times before. Aki's, I mean, do they have pressure on them? They do. I mean, they have massive pressure. We've got pressure on us, but I would say the pressure on Hamilton is bigger than it is on us. Even if we're to lose the game, we're still 5 points clear with a game in hand against Montrose. As I said before, I think if we win on Saturday, I think we'll draw against Montrose and vice versa. I think 2 wins puts it to bed. I mean, I think 2 wins. You couldn't see anyone betting against 2 wins putting it to bed. I just feel that I think if we empty the tank on Saturday, I think Montrose are wily enough and Petrie's wily enough to maybe come down here and grab a point. But fingers crossed I'm wrong.
But then we've got the squad that we could freshen it up ever so slightly.
Like you say, like we've just mentioned there, Ross, Kate, Aguiman can all come into that side. We know the back four picks itself. I mean, the back four just seems to that's it. That's been the back four all season pretty much.
Yeah. Every player got 45 minutes last Friday night against Peterhead.
Which we didn't actually talk about 5-1-1 for the Bairns as well, with all being what we've heard from behind the scenes. And I believe Dylan Tate got a goal in that game as well.
Yes, I think it was Dylan Tate. Calvin Miller got a couple.
Gary Oliver got one as well, I think.
As well, yeah.
I think he'll get one. I don't know if he did. I don't think he did actually. But yeah, it's massive on Saturday, absolutely massive, and hope to get 5,000 Bairns here. Actually, Stato Donald has been in touch. Says, "Hi guys, next week your biggest game of the season. They should track their first 5,000 plus gate. Fingers crossed. Don't expect any more than 400 or 500 from Hamilton. Donald, I think it's going to be a lot less than that. Statistically, they have a shocking home record versus Aki's over the last 10 seasons. Great. We played them 5 times at the Falkirk Stadium since 2013 and I've yet to beat them. Played 5, won 0, drawn 3, lost 2, and haven't scored more than 1 goal in any of the 5 games. We're due a win and a few goals, so let's hope it's this Saturday." That's horrendous statistics, Donald. I don't think I want to hear that.
You should have proofread that before you read it.
I definitely should have. But that is actually unbelievable that we haven't actually beat Hamilton at that stadium. So that is something that needs to change this Saturday, surely.
It really does. And I can't wait for Saturday.
Can't wait for Saturday. Looking at the run-in, I've brought both our kind of run-ins, looking down Hamilton's kind of fixtures. It's I would say we've got an easier run-in than Hamilton as well. When you look down the fixtures,
I was having a look at it as well. We obviously play a few of the sort of what we would class as the tougher games away from home, because obviously we've got Aki's away, we've got Cove away coming up.
They've also got Cove away as well.
Yeah.
We've got Montrose away. We've obviously got to do that still again as well.
I just think, see if we could, like you said a few minutes ago, John, see if we could just get the win on Saturday, right? We're not going to drop 11 points.
Yeah.
And on their form this season,
they could.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I just don't see it. But it could all change within a matter of 90 minutes or 180 minutes if we look at Tuesday as well. But it's a different animal, it's a different beast, and I just think we'll be going like hammer and tongs to get the points on Saturday. I really, really do.
Well, fingers crossed. What's your predictions?
I'll start. I think there'll be goals in this one. Like you've just said, where both teams are top goal scorers. They have to come and win. I think they'll score, but I think it will be a consolation. I'm going to go 3-1 Burns. That's what I'm thinking.
Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to 2-0. If we get that goal in the first 20 minutes,
yeah,
that is all important. Getting that goal, because they'll turn. They'll turn if we get a goal in the first 20 minutes. And I think, 2-0, see it out, up the road.
Yeah.
3 points, and then hopefully going to Montrose, get the win then, and then, I mean, if we're here next week saying that we're 14 points clear, it's huge, absolutely.
Yeah, just go and order the t-shirts that we talked about.
No, we're not ordering the t-shirts, Ross. Absolutely not. So let's make it 5,000. Let's see you down at the stadium. If you know a friend that's a lapsed Falkirk supporter, if you know a family member who likes football and their team's not playing, a mate like that as well, get them down at the stadium. Let's make it 5,000 and let's get right behind the Bairns for one of our biggest games in many a season.
Come on.
This is Falkirk Daft.
That is it for Falkirk Daft this week. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. A bit of a different show this week, but hopefully normal service resumes next week. We'll be looking back at the Hamilton game and glancing towards Montrose, and it's Kelty away after that. They just come thick and fast, don't they? So yeah, we are looking forward to the game on Saturday. As Ross is saying, he's absolutely buzzing. We're all absolutely buzzing. Ross, you're in hospitality, is that right?
I am, for a change.
What's that shock?
However, as are you.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm in hospitality as well. So hopefully get up to town afterwards and celebrate a win. It'd be really, really nice to get back up to Falkirk, get a few pints in it, because it just tastes so sweet when you taste victory in them. Listen, if you want to review us, we'd really appreciate that. You can do it at Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, wherever you're listening to this right now, or perhaps you're watching and you can subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button, and you'll get alerts whenever we drop a video. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Falkirk Daft, and we've got a whole bunch of merch up for grabs. You can do that merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. Get your Falkirk Daft merch there, a wide range of everything you ever wanted as a Falkirk supporter, and you can drop us a DM if you want to be a pundit. You can do that, John at falkirkdaft.co.uk or Ross at falkirkdaft.co.uk. Right, I'm even nervous ending this episode. Like I say, hopefully we're back here talking about Falkirk win next week. But until that time, Ross,
expect the unexpected, buddy. I'm on the bench.